Here we go.
Take one.
Okay, great. Welcome. We are doing balance video number 2 with Dr. Jason Gonzalez. Thank you, Jason, for coming back and agreeing to do this and helping us out, keeping us balanced and safe.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's fun. I like
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah, wonderful. So I know I did ask my ladies in the class a little bit about issues that they wanted to talk about.
Okay.
And one that came up that I think it's a really good one is about uneven surfaces
Okay.
and how to how
Navigate.
to thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a little early. How to navigate those surfaces. So if you could maybe address that off the bat, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the challenges with uneven surfaces, as with a lot of issues, is the communication between what's happening on the ground and where your foot contacts the ground, and how that messaging, how that information gets communicated back up to your brain, where your body actually, keeps its balance. Your balance is kept by things that are happening up inside of your brain, and your body parts bring information to those balance centers in the brain, and that, then the magic of your body doing what it does. And so when it comes to uneven surfaces, that presents a challenge because there's a rapidly changing type of contact to the ground, and your brain has to keep up with that information. And so to improve that, to improve your balance in that environment, you're going to want to train or practice those scenarios safely at home, and that's what we're going to show you how to do today. But it's just
Right.
a matter of, like anything else in life, just practice what you want to see happen, and the more that you do it, the better that the more confidence you'll have, and the better your body will be in that scenario.
Right. And you're ready for those times when you didn't quite see the little pebble or those little, the
Right.
gravel. And so if you can practice in a safe environment, then you're kind of training your body to meet those demands, those unexpected demands, maybe.
Exactly. And what I encourage people to think about when it comes to their balance is it's not just this nebulous mystical thing that either happens or doesn't happen for you. Your balance is very similar to a muscle. If you want to get a muscle stronger, you exercise it and you engage it. And the balance is the same way in terms of how it responds to being used. You have to practice balance a little bit differently than you would strengthen a muscle per se, but the point is that your balance system will improve with attention and practice. And so if you do that at home, you can expect better results when you're out, doing fun things in life.
Yeah, it's just that common sense time time on task.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So,
Wonderful.
anyways, let's go ahead and do some practical application of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So,
Wonderful. Yeah, that sounds
uh,
good.
yeah. So when it comes to balance, I think there are two areas that need to be addressed, and ideally, you're going to work on them at the same time with the exercises that you're doing, or at least at some point bring them together. That is the neurological piece, which is the quick communication between your feet, your eyes, different parts of your body, your knee joint, your hip joint, your spinal joint. Those parts and pieces need to be able to communicate neurologically very efficiently and quickly to the balance centers in your brain. So you can train that nervous system response time, and we'll show you how to do that. And then the other piece of the puzzle, and the other part of the equation, is the muscles and ligaments that are also responsible for stabilizing the joints that you need to keep stable while you're keeping your balance. So that's kind of where the strength component comes in. So when it comes to uneven surfaces, you want to build up progress to a higher and higher level of unsteadiness. So the first thing you want to do is safely is in your home. And I would actually recommend, and I'll do this right now, is actually take off your shoes, because taking off your shoes and being in socks or being barefoot is going to increase the amount of neurological information that can be transmitted from your foot to your brain. You want that tactile feedback. If you put your shoe, stuff your foot into a box, basically we call a shoe, this really dampens the feedback that your foot is able to give to your brain, especially if you already have other underlying neuropathies or other underlying problems that may have dampened that nervous system feedback already. This is going to make it worse. So I'd encourage you to practice these things barefoot or in socks, and also when you're out, in hiking or going for a walk or something, try to find a shoe that doesn't, it's not too thick. You want to still be able to feel the ground a little bit, thick enough to protect your feet from a pebble, but not super cushiony.
Yeah, those
Okay, so
hiking
first,
shoes, yeah, hiking shoes and boots, I mean, and tennis shoes are really good to impact, soften the impact, but then you don't get the kinesthetic or the feel of the ground, and that I think that's important. So,
exactly, exactly.
okay,
So for this little bit, I'm gonna have to stand up, and you're not gonna be able to see my head, but that doesn't really matter. You don't need to
that's
see what
okay.
I'm
We don't need to, we know it's there.
Yeah, it's all about what. So the progression looks like this. Obviously, you want to be in a safe spot in your house where there's no risk of, if you were to fall over or what have you, you don't want to have anything sharp or too hard. So clear the area.
Hmm.
And then it's always nice to have a very sturdy piece of furniture or a chair you can hang on to, or if you happen to be near a wall, you could also put your hand on the wall. So the progression looks like this. First, you just want to be able to stand on the ground, with both feet, and that should be fine. You might want to just try, holding onto the chair and turning your head a little bit, moving around, just looking around the room, and keeping your balance as your head moves and your feet feel the ground. That
Right.
would probably be very easy. The next progression is you're going to get a blanket, and you're going to open up the blanket until it's just one thickness, and you're just going to put the
Okay.
blanket on the ground, and that's going to put a little bit of a movement barrier between your feet and the bottom and the real firm floor, which is almost like
Mhm.
stepping on like maybe pea gravel, where it's pretty steady, but there's a bit of movement and a bit of unsteadiness as you place
Mhm.
your foot down,
Right.
right? So this would
Mhm.
be how you build up to walking on super unsteady ground. So you're just going to stand
Mhm.
here, both feet on the blanket, and maybe you're gonna look around again and just kind of like almost like you're on a hiking trail or a walking path. You're gonna want to look at the birds and the trees and keep your balance while you do that. So you got to
Mhm.
practice that just like you would. And then once you feel comfortable with both feet on one blanket thickness, then you can fold up the blanket in half,
Mhm.
and you can see where this is going.
Yeah.
And then you have two blanket
Yeah.
thicknesses, right? And you stand
Right.
stand
Yeah.
like this, and you fold up the blanket again and again. And eventually, once you feel like you've got, three or
Mhm.
four folds, and the blanket's now quite
Right.
thick,
Be
and I'm
thick
standing
there.
on
Yeah.
this feels like unsteady. It's almost like if you were to step on top of a couch cushion. You know how it'd be
Right.
wobbly, right?
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
much like stepping on unsteady ground. But you got a chair
Mhm.
to hang on to. And as you stand on both feet, again, keep looking around every time and just kind of act like you're looking at
Mhm.
nature while
Right.
keeping your balance.
Challenge,
And
yeah,
then
vision.
exactly, you
Right.
have to tie in where a lot of people's balance systems break down is when they begin to move their eyes or their head. That's
Mhm.
when they lose their balance. It's easier to keep your
Right. Oh,
balance if you're
yeah.
always staring at the ground, but as soon as you want to look away, that's when things get unsteady. So you need to
Right.
train that
Mhm.
coordinated activity between my eyes moving,
Mhm.
my feet and legs staying firm, right? So
Right.
this is the way to train that. The next progression, after you've done 2 feet, would be able to get to doing 1 foot. So again, unfold the blanket, go back down to maybe just one or two thicknesses of the blanket.
Mhm.
You've gone all the way up on 2 feet. You feel comfortable on 2 feet, just standing there, looking
Mhm.
around on the unsteady blanket. So you bring it back down. Now you're going to pick up 1 foot, and you don't even have to pick up 1 foot all off the ground. You can simply just plant one leg and bring the other toe up. If you can see
Right.
my feet
Yeah.
here,
We do
my
that
right
in
leg
in
is
class.
planted,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
I'm just taking the weight off my left leg, but not actually picking it up off the ground. My toe is still in contact, but my weight is all in my right leg.
Mhm.
And so
Right.
now what I'm doing is now I'm asking a bit more of my muscles on my right leg to engage and keep my body steady. So now I'm training both the neurological feedback of standing on something a little bit unsteady, and I'm more or less putting all my weight on one leg. So now those muscles that are responsible for keeping my ankle and my knee and my
Mhm.
hip, those joints steady, those muscles are getting a bit of extra work, right?
Yeah.
So it's like doing a bicep curl, but for my balance muscles. And I'll stay like this for a bit. And if I
Mhm.
feel comfortable, I'll begin to move my head around while I'm on 1 foot, right?
Right.
And then I can increase the thickness.
Mhm. Yeah.
Again, the progression would be go from 1, 2, 3, 4 folds. And then if you've gone through this, then you can actually try to pick the foot up a little bit and further engage those muscles. What you want to do is you want to squeeze the muscles just like you would strengthen an arm muscle by squeezing a bicep
Mhm.
curl. You
Yeah.
want to squeeze these muscles a bit, hold it for 5, 10, 15 seconds, and then you can let go, and then squeeze those same muscles, because when you're actually out in nature walking, when you need those muscles to engage is when you go from one step to
Right.
another, right in this
Yeah. Keeping
area,
the weight. Yeah.
right in this area. That's when I'm on one leg more or less. So let's
Mm-hmm.
practice that one leg balancing at home,
Mm-hmm.
so that when I'm walking, my legs I know are strong enough by
Mm-hmm.
themselves to pull me up for a
Right.
second or two,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
that's one of my favorite ones that we do in class. We just kind of break contact with our feet back and forth, and something that you
Right.
can even do. I always say you can do this washing dishes, you can do this standing in line. But
Exactly.
you've raised it up with the blankets to really add a greater challenge, which is really good. That's a great,
Yeah. And
because they're not ready. Those big circular bouncy balls that
those
people,
Bosu balls.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, those are like for, kids.
Yeah. Yeah, those are more advanced. The
Yeah.
folding up of the blankets is a nice even progression, and you can
Right,
play
very
around with,
safe. Yeah,
both feet, 1 foot, that kind of thing. And like I said, with every progression, you want to tie in the head and eye movement as well, because
right.
that's really where the rubber meets the road for your balance. Is you have to be able to move your eye,
Right.
at the grocery store, in a parking lot, navigating a curb and watching for traffic. Like,
Mhm.
it's both head and eye movement and body mind connection. So you have to kind
Right,
of train both of
right.
those at home.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing what our bodies have to do, all the integrating all the senses, and it's just,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
it's
pretty
phenomenal.
complicated.
It's really mind blowing when you really get down
Yeah.
to study what it actually takes for a body to stay upright in gravity.
Yeah, I
My
know.
In my office with my patients, I call it your relationship with gravity. And sometimes
Uh-huh.
we need to work on that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
on that note, let's kind of bring it home with our last exercise you can do at home. So now that you've actually seen, what a type of balance training exercise would look like, the other piece that you can do, and you can do this part almost anywhere, is visualization of you visualizing yourself navigating a hiking trail,
Oh,
visualize
wow.
yourself going
Yeah.
through these exercise
Yeah.
progressions mentally.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
reason this is important is because drawing from other arenas, namely the elite athlete arena, the elite
Mm.
athletic arena, the Olympic caliber athletes, the
Uh-huh.
professional caliber athletes, these men and women train not just their physical body, but they also mentally rehearse
Mhm.
their sport or their activity.
Uh-huh.
And what's so powerful about the mental rehearsal of it is that your brain, or your body rather, doesn't really know the difference between actually doing stuff
Mhm.
and really a really powerful mental imagination of it. They've done
Uh-huh.
studies where basketball players or hockey players
Mhm.
will visualize themselves
Mhm.
doing their sport, and they've got these little needles in their muscles looking for activity. And as they visualize themselves making a basketball
Mhm.
shot or skating on the ice rink,
Yeah.
the exact same muscle groups are firing as if they were actually doing it. Obviously, not to the same degree where you actually see the muscle contract a lot, but
Right.
the needles are picking up that activity. So that just shows
Mhm.
you that mental rehearsal is still an
Mhm.
effective way of training the physical body, to
Mhm.
prepare for an event. So when it comes to your balance, what's cool about this and also with sports is that you can mentally rehearse yourself doing something perfectly. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to make any mistakes because it's your imagination. Everyone can be like Superwoman or Superman, right? So you mentally rehearse yourself
Oh,
navigating a hiking trail that's got some rocks or gravel on it, or you
right.
mentally rehearse yourself doing these exercises,
Mhm.
and you mentally rehearse that perfectly, which is okay, then what you're doing is you're showing your body and you're creating those neural pathways that allow you to actually pull that off in real life.
Yeah.
And that's why visualization is so important. And that can be done, in a matter of a few minutes, or you can spend 10 or
Mhm.
15 minutes as long as you want. But
Mhm.
simply just close your eyes and take a few breaths and try to just kind of get in touch with your breathing and bring your
Mhm.
focus back into your body, and just kind
Mhm.
of body scan and just kind of feel what's going on.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you guys do this, so you're
Mhm.
familiar with how that works. And then once you feel like you're in touch with your body and you can kind of mentally bring your attention to different parts, okay,
Mhm.
then just take yourself and walk on a hiking trail, and
Mhm.
imagine yourself navigating maybe a small boulder, or having you put your hand on a tree branch and walk stepping
Mhm.
over a curb, whatever, and just see
Right.
yourself doing it. And while you see yourself doing it, try to conjure up this feeling of confidence, like you can do it, that kind of thing,
Mhm.
or
Right.
maybe go through a progression of standing on blankets or something like this,
Mhm.
and with time, even though you might not get up out of that experience and feel like, okay, I can go climb monkey face
Mhm.
here in Chico,
Right.
but with practice and with time, it will make a difference, and
Mhm.
that's what the research
Yeah.
has shown.
Yeah, the power, I mean, they're just doing more and more research that's becoming documented about the power of our mind and health and how it relates back and forth.
Right.
And it's pretty exciting. And it's also just really uplifting to go, yeah, I can visualize this, I can see myself doing it, and I don't have to be um, I don't have to be limited. I can continue to expand and gain skills, which I think is really it's kind of like lifelong learning.
Absolutely,
Particularly
absolutely.
as we age and things get a little more difficult, we can access some skills and stuff. So that's,
Exactly.
yeah. And I know that that's kind of like new agey, the visualization stuff, but it's nice to hear the science behind it, because I think so often we don't get that. I think it's just starting to come to light more and more. So.
Yeah, I think science is finally catching up in some degrees to,
Mhm. Right.
we in the human experience or what have you, in different arenas, we've observed things happen so often that we know there's something to it, but we didn't have the tools or the instruments needed to measure that kind of thing. And science is now finally
Right.
catching up with what we've been kind of
Right.
understanding on some degree for a long time. And now we actually have the ability to measure it and slice and dice it and look at it in different ways. And
Right. Yeah.
visualization is one of those things that we're catching up with, like you said.
Right. Well, that's great. Well, you know what? I think we've covered some really good subjects. Do you have any other last tips of the day for balance, or I think
Yeah,
one of the
I guess my last tip would just be frequency. What we
okay.
showed you today is not very difficult to do. You can do this, both the actual physical practicing and the mental rehearsal of it, I would say within, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, something like this. And
Right.
one of the things we know to be true about the nervous system that's really important, just like, again, leaning on the muscle experience, if you want a muscle to grow and get stronger, you can't just do curls once a week. You got to do it with some frequency.
Hmm.
And those neural pathways respond the same way. They really get stronger and they fire more efficiently when they're used often. So frequency is a big important piece to getting your balance stronger, is doing these exercises,
Hmm. Right.
as trivial as they may seem, doing them with frequency, even multiple times a day. That
Right.
will help advance your skill set way faster than doing this maybe just 3 times a week kind of thing.
Right. I know we do class, twice a week and stuff, but the magic thing of, if I could bottle up how to do something, the ability to practice something every day,
Right,
because I know there's so many things that if you do them every day, you're so much better, like
right,
if you floss every day, if you do a little bit of weights, if
right.
those, it's like this, what is it? The kind of not the willpower, but that's what I want to bottle up, because I tend to get motivated by peer pressure or by things happen. I'll have a fall or something, and then I go, oh, I got to work on this or something like that. You don't want to wait to be proactive. You don't want to wait for,
Yeah,
you know,
you don't want to be reactionary. You want to be
yeah,
proactive.
right, yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
maybe
Don't wait to see what
yeah,
happens.
pair it with something that you always do, or something you do like to do, like if you drink coffee every morning, or you always feed the cat, or you always
Yeah,
walk the dog, if you can pair something with that, sometimes that makes it easier.
yeah. And getting that new habit to form can be a bit tricky, but
Yeah,
it's super
yeah.
worth the effort. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Jason, thank you for taking the time this morning and showing us that. I'm hoping, well, I'm excited about trying to integrate that and share that with the women that I work with, and also with
Yep.
myself, because I know they dilated my eyes for my doctor's visit last week. And I said, oh, I'm fine to drive. And oh my goodness, it's the vision. I mean, it was like,
Yeah,
yeah, it wasn't good. So
it changes
anyway,
everything,
gotta
doesn't it?
keep on keeping on. So again, thank you so much for taking the time
Yeah,
today.
you're welcome. I enjoy doing these things. I think
Yeah, I've
yeah,
learned a lot, and I really appreciate your willingness to help us out and giving us some practical tips. And
anytime.
I will give you
Anytime.
feedback on what I hear. So
Sounds
anyway,
great.
Thanks so much, and
All right,
I will talk to you soon.
all right, sounds good. You guys enjoy your day. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.